6-point body map quiz that I use in real life with my patients in the clinic. And it's going to help you tell the difference between if your sciatica is disc-based, stenosis-based, or piriformis glute-based. You have to go through each step because one builds off the next. So follow through all 6 tests, do it with me at home, and by the end of it, you're going to have an easy plan to make real change in your life. If you're ready, we're going to start with the easiest one. Get comfortable, follow me. Let's go. Test 1 is the hip drop symmetry test. You're going to stand near a wall and use it for support if you need. Then I'm going to proceed by raising one leg hip height. Hold, and then slowly raise the other. If raising the leg bothers the glute, causing a sharp or piercing pain on the side, it's often driven by the piriformis. However, if I feel it across the belt line or near the center of the spine, it's often much more driven by an L4-L5 disc injury or a bulge. And if I notice that when I flex forward gently with wall support, if it eases the pain when I'm standing, well, that's our first clue it might be stenosis. Test number 2 is a load screen. It's super simple but very powerful, so repeat right after me and make notes. I'm going to first lift my toes off of the ground, use wall support if needed, hold for a second, and then you're going to shift and push up onto your toes, holding for another second. Now here's the breakdown. If when the toes are up, you're having pain in the back, especially if it shoots down, you're more leaning to disc, because as you extend the toes, it stretches that spinal cord. However, if you push up on your toes and you feel a deep glute ache or piriformis ache, it's likely that area because you're engaging the muscle, and that may irritate the nerve if you have a piriformis problem. But if you're leaning forward while on your toes and it feels like it's easing the symptoms, well, that's our second clue, it may be stenosis. Make your note on our checklist and let's move on to test 3. You're going to sit tall in the chair and slowly extend the affected leg out as firmly as you can. Then flex the toe and ankle forward and backwards. Note if there's any pain just from this. But then, to make it harder, you're going to flex forward and pull the toes back. If this elicits pain and it shoots down the leg or severely staticky and burning or tingling numbness, it's highly indicative of a disc issue. However, if you feel a tight glute squeeze or cramping sensation, it much more points to piriformis. If both tests while you flexed forward felt better, it's a stronger case for stenosis. Now the next test we're going to do is a great one because you can actually learn to help palpate and check your friend and loved one. So check this out, it's weirdly accurate. Test 4 gives me a ton of information, but if you perform on someone else, make sure you know the person. We're going to be doing our 3-finger palpation cluster. You're going to place your hands on your waistline, where you feel the top of the pelvic brim, and with your thumbs, you're going to gently sink into the spine, putting a little gentle pressure. If you notice tenderness or pain, that tells us it may be more disc and nerve entrapment. Then, bring your thumb an inch lower and off to the side. You're going to feel that bony protuberance that many people think is muscle or something achy, but it's actually where your sacroiliac, your SI joint is. And if you feel there it's tender, a lot of times you may have SI joint pain. Then, take 2 fingers from that same hand and pivot down to the outside glute and start palpating and digging in there. If it's tender here, this is much more indicative of piriformis. The test isn't perfect, but man, does it line up more often than you think. Add this to the list and let's move on to the next test. We're going to speed it up for these next 2 tests. They're subtle but super important as the finishers. So get ready for the lightning round. Test number 5 is the stance split test. Step one leg forward like a mini lunge, then switch legs. If the pain changes dramatically depending on which leg is forward, that's your piriformis or SI waving its flag. If both positions create the same nerve-like symptoms, but bending forward helps, you know the pattern, stenosis. Now last but certainly not least is trying each position here for 5 seconds to test your preferred sleeping position. Whatever position gives you the most relief tends to match the cause. If 2 of our tests point to the same pattern, I want you to jump straight to that specific routine for your cause. If my Sciatica 6-point map quiz helped, please share it with a loved one or friend. You can actually find a PDF version of it in the description below, and if you could, please comment on the most surprising test you found. It really helps our channel grow. Then go to your specific routine linked also in the description, and I'll see you there.